Hi, it's Nancy welcoming you to Garden Scroll. So today is March the 12th, and we have 2 more weeks before the first day of spring. We had snow yesterday, but it was melting. Actually, we had a snow, was it on the 12th, I think? And then on the 13th, it was mostly all melted. Today, it's gone, and spring is coming back. So, and I changed the water in these today, and now I am taking some of the little plants that I rooted and I'm putting them in some potting soil, and I'm actually using cactus soil on these. You'll need some type of soil that is not too heavy for them, because they won't live in a real heavy soil, and that I'm gonna have to get a little bit more to put around that root, but a little more soil. But these, if you've been watching, you probably can tell these were started several weeks ago, so they probably already have a root going. And hopefully when spring comes and it gets steadily warm enough to bring the houseplants out, I'll be able to bring these little coleus out and put them right directly in the garden. And I don't even know what to tell you about my little begonias. You know, just 2 weeks ago these were thriving. You can probably hear that crisp around the edges, and I cut the ones that were totally crisped up or wilted down, and I can't tell if it's too much water, not enough water, if it got too cold, or if maybe fungus gnats. We did have a few, but we didn't have that many, so I don't know if they put some bacteria in the soil. I don't know, but I thought I had it figured out. I thought, oh, wonderful, now they're going to live. They thrived right up until about 2 weeks ago, and when they began to go, they just kept right on going. And I'm having a struggle with all of them, not just that beautiful. This one is, of course, the polymer prince, which it's my very favorite, but it's still got some life to it. I don't know how much life. And that's same with these other little begonias. You can tell they're just almost gone. They're all but gone. This little one may have the most leaves on it, but that doesn't mean it's going to live, but I'm hoping it will. I won't give up on them until they're totally gone. But look at this. It's that beautiful autumn embers, which is actually a beautiful different shades of orange. You can see green in there and know that there's some life, but there's no leaves at all, so I really don't know what to do for it. I have read that you can put like a cover on them, so I'm going to try putting this little bowl on there and putting them back over there and hoping that it will grow a leaf or 2 or 3 or fill itself back out for the summer. That's what I'm really hoping it will do. Even this little polka dot begonia, it was looking like it was ready to compete with Jack's beanstalk almost. It's not totally dead, but it has dropped leaves like crazy. That one fell off when I just got it down to water it. And I did put extra perlite in this pot, but I did not have, at the moment I fixed this pot up, I didn't have the begonia, or actually what I use is African violet soil, because it's supposed to be good for begonias too, and I didn't have that soil, so I used just a potting soil for indoor plants, and then put extra perlite in it. So you can tell that's crispy, crunchy. So, but it does seem to have enough life in it that I'm hoping it will make it to go outside and then hopefully do well there. Remember, just a short while ago they looked like this, so pretty, and I had such hopes for them, but now I don't have much hope for them. I've got to figure out what went wrong and try again, or give it up. Little dew plant, while certainly not as far gone as my begonias, is not looking good either, but honestly, for myself, if I can just get it to live till it can go back outside, I'm pretty sure it will pick up and go then if I can get it stratified or hardened off enough that it can handle our Oklahoma temperatures. The fluctuation in our temperatures is really hard on our little plants for sure. And then the wind, if the temperatures don't get them, they have to struggle in the wind to get strong again. But once they get strong and get going, they do very well, most usually for me. Actually, always since I've done them, they've done well in the garden. But when I bring them in, that's the end of their doing well. But this one has lasted this far. And as I mentioned earlier, in 2 weeks it's going to be officially spring, even though our temperatures don't always agree with the calendar saying it's spring. But we'll see, because it also may, we've had some spring weather already, but it's also been in between freezes below 32 degrees. So far, my little airplane plant has done well. If you look down in there, you can see that there's at least 2, maybe 3. There's 3 little individual ones in there, and it even put on a baby. So it's doing well. Last year, my airplane plant died inside, and I did figure out that why I ended up doing differently this time, because I don't do another plant if I can't figure out something. Another one of the same plants if I can't figure out something to do differently, because I know it would just die. But what I did differently was, if you can see, there's a lot of perlite in there. So I did put a lot of perlite in the soil. But since I used the begonia, I used African violet soil for the begonias, because I've read that that works best for them, and it was doing so well that I thought, oh, I figured it out. I'll have begonias now for forever. But that didn't happen. So, well, they're not totally dead yet. I'm still hoping. You know, I have to hope until the very end, don't we all? But anyway, that's where it is right now. But next year I may actually try, if these live, to put more perlite in with even the African violet soil to see if that will make a difference for them. It certainly helped this little airplane plant. This coming Sunday, spring will have arrived on the calendar, and today is a beautiful day, but in my garden it still looks more like winter. I see people on my Instagram that are putting pictures on of their gardens where spring has really came in bloom and everything. But so I decided I'm going to look out here and see if I can find any signs of spring, which right here is one. This is Sweet William, I believe, and it's looking like it's coming back to life. So there's one good sign. We did not get the rain that I was hoping for yesterday, but we do have another chance, I think, later on this week. So I'm hoping that we get it. I think that will be one thing that will help the garden to break dormancy. But honestly, I need to get all this mess cleaned out before it breaks dormancy too much, so it won't just be all mixed in together with the dry stuff and the new stuff trying to come through, which you can see right down at the bottom of this. There is new stuff trying to come through. I'm missing my beautiful Lenten roses that used to be the first thing that bloomed, but I took them from this area because when we had to take our pear tree down, they didn't have enough shade, and so I put them in front in pots, and then they started out doing really well there, and I loved them there, but then I realized they were not doing well there, so I moved them again. And actually, I think the snails had gotten to them. I don't know if I have any left at all. I'm hoping I'll have some to come back, but we'll have to see. If not, I'll try to get some more. I do love the Lenten roses. So I found a little bit of spring right here. This is a hyacinth, and I'm noticing that right next to it there's one that actually has some pretty spring color on it. Definitely need to clean up all that old dead stuff around it so it can shine. I am seeing some peonies, little buds or little nubbins poking up through the ground right here. Of course, here's a sign of spring. I just pulled up these little weeds. They're coming up here in the yard too, and I need to get out and spray for this. And I think this is called henbit, and honestly that purple is so pretty, but it's not pretty to me or to any other gardener because it's so invasive and just can take over, and I need to get rid of this. I haven't even made an order to order some plants for the spring, and I don't think I'm going to order very much this year, but I do want some little succulent plants or sedums that I can put in pots like this. So I'm planning on at least making 1 or 2 orders to get some of that, and there's a few things that I definitely would love to get started in the garden. But of course my scanning old pictures and getting things ready to make movies for my family has taken precedence over some of this other stuff right now. I hope to get some before and afters for you, and this is definitely all befores because it looks terrible everywhere in the garden right now. But once we get it cleaned out and going again, oh, and look at this little sage that I'm noticing over here. Let me go over where I can get it a little bit better, but it's greened up and looking good. It's a very small, but it will spread out and go, I'm thinking and hoping it will. But I was going to say, I want to get some before and afters. Like in this little pot right here, this is Chinese dunce cap, and it looks like it's not even, it looks non-existent. But I'm thinking it will come out of that and live. I'm hoping it will. And I have seen it do it before. It's so good to see this much of it cleaned out. Usually I don't get around to doing this in the fall, but I'm so grateful that I did because my irises are ready to go all up on this side of this little path. And then over here all I need to do basically is trim the vines and take up the old daylilies. These are the little flowering almond that are beautiful pink in the early spring, and as you can see they're all budded out, getting ready to go. I told my husband this morning that if it didn't hurt, it could really be exciting to get out here and get this all cleaned out, but every little thing is going to hurt so much to do. I just recently put on a picture of my lilac from last season, and you can tell it was already, even before now, beginning to bud out. So its buds are swelling, and it won't be long till it'll turn beautiful green, and then it'll put on its beautiful lilac blooms. And I need to pick up some of these pots. I'm waiting. Well, because I'm just waiting. I'm not ready to get out here, but I'm waiting because also I need the ground to be soft when I set these up, and so that I can push the ends of them down into the ground, or put the holes around them where they'll stay and not just be blown over by the first strong winds we have. This little one is not really going to make it. It's falling apart, so I need to put some more. Actually, I used just a foam filler on this, and I'll probably try to do that again. There's lots of that kind of work that needs to be done out here as far as putting things back together and straightening it up and gluing things back together where it's been broken. Some of my dianthus, which usually comes right back in the spring, may not make it this time because we just did not get rains. We really did not get one rain through the whole winter other than a little bit of just a sprinkle, a little light sprinkle. This appears to be the only Lenten rose I have left, and it does have some green, and hopefully it will make it to come back this spring. And look, I did find another sign of spring. These are the daffodils. They're fixing to open up. I think this one has opened up. Not quite all the way, but close. And so far through all of the snows and thaws and freezes and thaws and more freezes and thaws, this little sedum has made it and is still green. If we don't have one last late one after it's really going good, we may get to keep all the sedum. That would be great. It's wonderful when you don't have to redo everything. Just clean out the old dead stuff and let the other pretty green shine. And I might get this for a before on these pots here at the front of the house, because I'm thinking that they are going to begin soon to just, you can tell right back here it used to be a hosta, and I'm hoping and believing there is one right, the root of it will come up, and I'll just clear off the top and we'll be starting all over. This is I think that was a coleus, so it will not come back, but I have some in the window if they make it to start in these pots, and if not, we'll go to the nurseries and see what we can find there, because definitely this is a hosta. Hopefully it will come back, and this one, and it won't be long now till we'll see first the little nubbins, and then we'll see the beautiful, glorious plant and all of its beauty. This one will have to be totally redone. It was coleus also, but hopefully we'll get that going again, and it'll be even more beautiful than it was last year is the hope. And then all these are hostas. I love the hostas. They come back. They do well in pots, and I am hoping that just the snows that we've had, and because they haven't broke dormancy yet through the freezes, that hopefully they will come back still, all these hostas. Still have hope for this little primrose to come back, although it's lost all of its green just a week or so ago that I showed it to you, and it still had green around the root of it, but now there's not any. But I'm still thinking it could come up from the root, so we'll see how that will go. Love to get my little houseplants back out here, and I know they want back here. Some of them are beginning to die, and I'm thinking they're thinking, okay, we've had enough of this, but they certainly couldn't handle being out here just yet. The night temperatures are still cold. I have a sweater on. It's a nice day today, but it is still some crispness in the air. And I was looking around here because I did have some hyacinths here, but I don't see any of them right now, so they may be gone, or they may just not be up yet. They probably need some water. But look what is up. This is get right down here where you can see what I'm looking at. But this is a peony that's more than just a little nubbin coming up out of the ground. It already has 2 and 3 inches of growth on it. And today I have, well, actually I have a few more days work on my scanning before I get out here in the garden. I'm thinking I would love to get it finished before I get out doing this, although it might be better to do a little of each a day because it just gets stressful just to stay in that one position and keep going. But I'd love to get it done and then get out here and get this done. And once I get really busy with the garden, I won't have much time for doing pictures, but hopefully I will have that part done, and maybe I will be able to, once I get the pictures ready to go, to put them in the iMovie program and go ahead with them and do them, some of it at least, while I'm also doing the gardening. And I'm seeing that there is a little bit of the dianthus is greening up, so that's great also. I didn't want to lose all this, so hopefully we won't see no green in this one. And it was full of dianthus, and I think Sweet William, I don't see any coming back. It may once it gets some rain, but we'll just have to see. There is a beautiful bleeding heart in this pot, or there was last year. I'm hoping it will be back again this year, and I think that maybe it will. It is March the 17th, and it was looking like rain, but it's not so much now. The sun has come back out, but rain is in our forecast for tonight, and I'm certainly hoping that we get it. The last time I mentioned that we had rain in the forecast, it didn't come through. And this morning it was looking so much like rain with the overcast skies. But right now it doesn't look much like rain to me. But still, I'm going to hope. This is a little flowering quincy, and you can tell that its buds are swelled, and it's soon to open up and be in glorious color. I also see that there's some forsythia blooms on the little forsythia bushes. So one thing, either way, whether we get rain or not, I need to get the hoses all lined out and run some water through them, clear them out, and make sure they're ready to go. Because everything is needing some water. Even if we get rain, that will be great, and it will help them to get a good start. But I've also, of course, got to get this stuff cleaned out of here so it can have a chance to be pretty and green and new and start over again and get up all the grasses and weeds like this henbit right here. I'll have it in there for you. See if I can. So the sun was glaring on my lens, and I wasn't sure if I got that henbit that no one probably needs to see, because it's probably in everybody's yard right now that that didn't spray, and probably even if they did, some of this is showing up in some area. So I thought I would check our front forsythias for blooms, and I'm not seeing any, but there are some buds that are just getting close to opening up. If they would just get that rain that we're waiting for, they probably would open right up. But I have done well with my winter. I got more done than I assumed that I would. I went through so many albums and scanned so many pictures, put in countless hours, and I hope to be able to make my movies even during the gardening season when I'm so busy out here. I'm hoping that at the time when I'm letting the water just run and soak through the hoses, that I'll be able to be inside doing some of that work, and hopefully it won't be too awfully long before I get all 5 of them done. That would just be so great. But I may be having too much hope for that, because I didn't have that kind of hope for getting all that scanned. But I even got the ones that I had told you before were behind all the plants that I brought inside. I actually moved them out and put them in another area so that I could go ahead and get the albums out. And I've got things straightened back up this morning, and we've just got that job finished, that part of that job finished. It's more than I really thought I would get done, so I'm very happy about that. And I think maybe right now might be a good time to just go ahead and pull these up. These are zinnias, and of course the bells of Ireland. But I'm assuming that they have probably already put their seed down, and so if I pull these up and we get some rain, they may just begin to go ahead and reproduce plants for this coming season. Okay, another job done. There will be so many of them. But today has honestly been the first day that really felt like spring to me. Maybe part of it is because I got one job done, and I did want to finish that before I got started on all this. But it's going to be wonderful just to have that done and to get started, and spring is going to be here. It really is going to be here, even if it doesn't feel like it now, which today it has for me. And I did get a little bit done, as well as this. I also got one of my little bird feeders glued back together, so little by little we'll get all this plastic off and get the hoses started, get this little bits of green will turn into big bits of green with lots of beautiful foliage, and then the blooms will begin to come on, and we'll have lots of beautiful color in the garden. Please be sure to like and to subscribe to the channel.